accountability buddies, it's Les, and this is another episode of Less is More Healthy. Thank you for tuning in, or what do you call it, tuning in? I feel like an old-timey, announcer on the radio or something. Anyway, thank you for being here. I am going for a short walk today because I'm running behind. Not because of errands, not because of anything, but I actually slept through the night for once, and I woke up naturally 15 minutes before my alarm, and for whatever reason, my mind is like, what? You woke up naturally, and I slept through the night. It's crazy. Anyhow, so I'm doing a short walk today. I have a meeting today that I can't be late for. Not that I just roll in whenever I feel like it, but sometimes I might stay late if I show up late. And I usually work that out with my boss in advance. But so the thing that I kind of wanted to talk about is like a continuation of what I was talking about yesterday in terms of like sluggish body feeling. So yesterday and this is something that's been ongoing. I am attempting to add in different foods for breakfast. So the shake has been working wonderfully well, except for the fact sometimes my stomach gets upset. And I think that's because I take my medications on an empty stomach before I have my shake. Today I switched it up and I had my shake and then took my medications after my shake. And I don't have an upset stomach today. So I'm going to try doing that for the next week and just like seeing what happens. If it's not the shake, then fine. If it is the medications, I'm going to see if I can remember to take them when, after I've had my shake. The problem that I have is like, I have a set routine of getting up, making my cup of coffee, drinking my coffee. As I'm drinking my coffee, I take my medications. With the exception of the Ribelsis, which I take a half hour before I, get dressed. Like I wake up in the morning, take my Ribelsis. Sometimes if I wake up at like 5 a.m, I'll take the Ribelsis then. Sometimes, it's like today I woke up naturally 6:45. I took the Ribelsis then, went back to bed, kind of like checked my email and stuff from my phone, which, yeah, I know that's not a great idea. But, I then, then I have my cup of coffee and take my medications, and I'm pretty certain that's what's causing the upset stomach. So I am going to ask my doctor if that's a possibility. If that's the case, then I might try to get off of those. Well, I do want to get off of those medications, especially if I don't need them anymore. So we'll see how that works. It might also be a reduction of one or both of them. So, but that's a whole different doctor. I have the endocrinologist that deals with my diabetes stuff. And then I have the other doctor that deals with all of my other medications. So that's a whole thing. But, I'm hoping that I can just keep the shakes in the morning, because I'd rather eat lunch than have a shake at lunch. Breakfast has never been a favorite meal of mine unless it's like breakfast for dinner. But, the bagel did not work for me. And not a bagel. I had, like I said yesterday, I had half a bagel, cream cheese, and lox for breakfast yesterday. And what I was looking to see is like, can I have, half a bagel, with cream cheese and lox for the protein portion of it? And will that feel good? Everything with this is kind of like a science experiment. I'm eating things and then like taking note of how my body feels afterwards. And, I felt terrible. It's that like high blood sugar, groggy mental state, groggy body dragging physical state of being that I had with that high blood sugar and that bagel. And it lasted most of the day. So yeah, unfortunately it's not going to be something I can do. And it could also be that, the type of bagel that I had. Not that I'm going to test it out anytime soon, but, yeah, just I was very sensitive to that particular brand of bagels. I've had like a quarter of a bagel from one Mighty Mill, and it hasn't hit me nearly the same as this bagel did. So it's just like a thing to like remind myself that different brands, different bagels, different things affect me in different ways. And again, it's that science experiment like mentality of like what's happening in my body. And also I'm a little frustrated with that because, I know I need to eat breakfast because that helps stop me from like consuming all of the things later in the day. But the frustration being like I would like to reintegrate some regular foods into my diet, and a bagel was obviously not a great choice. I mean, bagels are just carb bombs. Just not a good choice. So like my wonder is like, could I could probably do a breakfast burrito, and that would be a better choice. I could do some other higher protein breakfast meals, that I cook at home, not getting from McDonald's or Burger King or a place like that. But yeah, that groggy, slow feeling, that tired feeling followed me for most of the day. Also, the upset stomach followed me for a lot of the day. And again, like, I think it's the medications. I don't know that it's the shake. I was blaming it on the shake because that made sense. But yeah, I think it's medication related, unfortunately. So that was like a whole other thing, that happened yesterday. I'm trying to think of like the other things that I wanted to talk about today. There wasn't really a whole lot other than like, continuing that science experiment type feeling with my body. The other thing is also noting that, when I'm riding my bike long distances, like when I'm doing like over 10 miles, I can eat pretty much whatever I want, during that ride and for a time afterwards. So it's going to be interesting. So this weekend, my plan is that I'm going to get at least 25 miles of my 52-mile ride in. And I'm going to see if I can, like, where my blood sugar's at. I've restocked my glucose monitor, so I'll have that with me with fresh test strips so that I can keep track of that throughout the ride. I'm hoping what I really want to do is like test my blood sugar at the top of a hill, test my blood sugar after like a long flat area, like basically maybe stop and test my blood sugar every half hour, because I really want to get an idea of where my blood sugar is at throughout a ride, and then also test my blood sugar after eating. So my plan is I'm going to ride out to Ipswich. I'm going to go to Little Wolf Cafe again and get a cup of coffee, get something to eat. I'm also going to have protein bars with me, so that, if I'm on the ride, I can have some protein bar with me. I'm also going to have what do you call it? A sports drink with me, with a little bit of sugar in it. So one of the things that I've noticed, especially as I've reviewed some of the videos, is that I'm definitely hitting a point where my blood sugar is lower. I can see it in my speech, and part of it is, I'm physically tired. My electrolytes are off because I'm sweating profusely. But, normally my speech is pretty fluid, and the way that I'm speaking has like a cadence to it. I'm not usually forgetting a lot of words, although I keep forgetting words today. So that's something that I notice in those videos where I've been recording during my ride, is that my speech isn't as fluid. I'm stopping and starting. I'm stopping to think about what I'm going to say a lot versus like something like this where I just kind of flowing. It's flowing. There are brief moments where I'm stopping, but it's not the same as when I'm on a ride. And that is, it's a little concerning because it's something that you have to think about as a type 2 diabetic is, where are my blood sugars? And how is low blood sugar, how is that represented physically? But it's also something that I'm recognizing that as I talk to the camera is represented in my speech. And that's also something like, when I was working at the hospital, and I know I keep bringing that up, when I was working at the hospital, that was something that we made note of as like, that might be a medical emergency. And we did have a few type 2 diabetics that came in that did pass out because their blood sugars were so low. And that happens when people are depressed and anxious, they don't necessarily remember to eat. Or food no longer has pleasure for them, so they don't eat. And with type 2 diabetes, if they're taking certain medications, metformin can cause low blood sugar, glipizide can cause low blood sugar, but all of those type 2 diabetes medications, many of them can cause low blood sugar. Actually, I take it back. I don't think metformin I think it's extremely hard on metformin to have low blood sugar. So don't quote me on that, but like some of these medications do cause low blood sugar, and you see that represented in how someone presents. Glassy eyes, pale, paucity of speech. Anyway, like I digress. That's something that I recognized in my own video. And so like I need to think about adding some carbohydrates in as I'm riding. First off, because having low blood sugar when I'm riding my bike could be extremely dangerous. If I pass out on a ride, I could get really hurt. So I've got to be careful about that and not pass out on a ride. So I'm adding into my electrolyte drinks, a little bit of carbohydrate. Not a lot, just a little bit. And I don't think I've talked about mixing my own electrolyte beverages, but that is something I will talk about in another episode, cause it's been fascinating. Anyway, so that's what I got for today. Take care of your body. Look at how low blood sugar might be represented in you, and also high blood sugar. How is high blood sugar? How does that feel in your body? If you make note of these things in your body, and the way you present when you have high blood sugar and low blood sugars, it's important that you're making note of that. And I know for myself, like it's super important so that I don't hurt myself, or accidentally have some sort of accident. So, like I always say, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I very much appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.